I know. You're all gonna say his hair is perfect right now. You're all gonna say that. I know. But Joey, he does have nice blonde hair. Blonde hair tends to be on the finer side, right? He's got a ton of it, but it's a bit on the finer side. So what we're looking to do is pretty much a complete transformation to go with something like that's a lot easier to work with, something that you can apply one of my products to the hair and have the haircut do most of the work and have the haircut end product add volume. So what I'm doing is these are some like super old like retro clippers. So ignore the clippers, but you basically can go in with like a number one guard into here, and I'm just kind of working that up the back of the head, and I'm just trying to create the foundational shape, the bottom, and one of the best techniques and tricks, even if you're cutting your own hair or somebody else's hair, is push the hair into the clipper. And yes, you're going to create a ledge or a weight line, but what that does is it helps keep you in check of where you are, and then you're just moving up the head shape and removing that step or that line. To me, it's the easiest way to work with clippers, and it just gets the hair off, comes off a lot easier and a lot cleaner. And also take note that I'm doing this on dry hair. It's really best to use clippers on dry hair. Unless you're just like taking a whole chunk of hair off and you're going from like a ponytail or something like this, then fine, but use it on dry hair, trust me. So as you can see, we're starting to now work our way up the head shape, and we're starting to, remove that line that we created, that weight line, all by just using a different guard, maybe going from like a 1 to 1.5 or, into a 2, into a 3. And that's why the clippers are made that way, because they go shorter to longer. But what we're trying to do here is create somewhat of a shorter, very low maintenance type of haircut. And now that, it's summertime here in the States, here in Jersey, and on the East Coast here, it's getting hot out. You want something that is a lot easier to maintain. So what I'm doing now is just cutting scissor over comb, and I love blending in scissor over comb, especially on finer hair. And you could see he has a ton of hair, but the hair strands themselves are fine. Let me know in the comments below if you have this type of blonde hair. I know you may be thinking, oh, I can never get volume, blah, 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 blah. But however, fine hair can actually create a ton of volume if you have the right haircut and use the right product. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to connect the back into the top. And I apologize for the elbow in your face. I sincerely apologize about that. But what we're doing is cutting towards the face, and that's how we connect into the back. I have loads and loads of other videos on this, on doing this technique. So if you can't see, I apologize. But the key is in order to create that connection, you have to cut, at least I do, I cut vertically to blend it, and then I'll go in horizontally. I'm also pulling the hair out different angles, and I'm really just trying to move the hair around and see how it flows. Now here's where the horizontal part comes in. I'm cutting straight across. I'm not cutting vertically anymore, because now I have that guide and that connection, so I can simply just cut straight across. This is amazing if you are, new to hair cutting. This is the best way to cut your hair at home, I guess. If you're trying to cut layers on top, it's easier to cut it horizontally than vertically. So you may have a difficult time connecting the back, but this is the best way to blend a haircut right through here, especially if you've got a calic or a swirl in your hair, right? This is a great way. And if you notice when I cut, I'm constantly, I'll cut, then I'll comb, and I'll keep combing and keep cutting. And, I'm really doing more combing, because you want to make sure that all that hair is very balanced, right? Very balanced. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually, look at all that hair right here. I have to cut some of that hair off and keep some of the length. But what I'm doing is I'm working shorter to longer. And when you over direct the hair, that front bit going back, then it's all going to be, cut much shorter. So what I did is I cut that whole front piece off. As you can see, we took quite a bit of length off. It's got a very nice flow to it. The top probably in the front's about, I'd say, 3 inches the most. and then everything else on top is probably 1.5 inches or so. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in scissor over comb, which I always do at the end. And that's when I do some extra blending, some extra, connecting of everything. Now that I let the hair dry, I'm able to go in and, utilize I'm using a thinning shear here just to soften everything up, right? And using a thinning shear really works well, especially if you're looking to blend a bit more. So you could see in that corner, that side, he's got that hair. If you don't cut it short enough, it's going to stick straight out, right? On that, his left side, our right side, but his left side. If you don't cut that short enough, it's just literally going to stick straight out. That's why you either have to leave it a lot longer or you have to cut it shorter, all right? So now, as you can see, what I did there is I blended everything, connected everything, and we have a little bit more length throughout the top. Now, as far as like styling products, I would say my talc powder, the crafted matte paste, let me see, you could use Clutch, Pregame, the sea salt paste. I would stay away from like a pomade or something like that because he's got fine hair. You can even use Tidal Wave, right? You can even use Tidal Wave. But I think here I'm using the sea salt paste, and I'm just trying to create some texture and some flow to it. And as you can see, what's happening, it's actually thickening the hair and creating more volume. If you use something that's really, really like a gel, I would always stay away from a gel. But if you use something that's too like kind of greasy, it's going to actually make the hair look wet, and it's not really good for fine hair, all right? But you can see, just with creating some sort of texture with my hands, using the right product, look at that volume he has in his hair, right? You could create a lot of different shapes with that. I'm working the style through. There's some texture in it, and now it's making it look like he's got, much thicker hair. So hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to use code YouTube20 at shop.thesalonguy.com for 20% off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.